Minnesota Vikings fire general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. I did not expect this to happen. But at the same time, fans did expect it. And, obviously, understandably why. We understand why. Sam Darnold was a guy that Kwesi brought in last season. And now, we let him go and he's in the Super Bowl. Here's the thing with that. I feel that Kwesi didn't fully invest in an offensive line to keep any of our quarterbacks healthy. Patrick Mahomes can't be Patrick Mahomes on the Chiefs without a good old line. No quarterback can succeed without a good old line, no matter the skill level, no matter the potential. That's part of the reason why Sam Darnold was getting sacked so many times against the Rams in the playoffs, because he didn't have an O-line. And I'm fully supportive of his success in Seattle. Another thing, too, I noticed that Kwesi was always taking these, nostalgic, making these nostalgic moves, bringing back Adam Thielen, showing slight interest in Kirk Cousins maybe. That kind of stuff, I don't see other teams doing that. If a guy walks out the building, he walks out the building, okay? We need to make business decisions that benefit our team over an appeal to nostalgia or a nostalgic move that you want to make just to bring a guy back just because he was, on our team at a whatever year it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's make an example. Adam Thielen, we brought him back this year, and he was on the team back in 2016, I believe 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. But just because of his nostalgia and what he brought to us at that time, it doesn't mean that it'll necessarily benefit us nowadays. And I'm saying what has to be said, but there were other options out there. Other options that were younger, fresher, and could make big plays. We need playmakers. Let's draft some guys. We re-signed Brian Flores. What I'm getting here from this Vikings team, this Vikings organization is starting to look like an organization that wants to start winning and is tired of being mediocre. The Vikings have never ever truly been a bad franchise or a horrible franchise, but they've always been stuck in the middle. 8-9, 9-8, 9-7, stuff like that. There were seasons like last season where we were 14-3. In 2022 we were 13-4. There were good moments. 2019 we were 10-6. 2017 we were 13-3. But the thing I'm trying to say here is, despite that, we need to make decisions that truly benefit us in the long run. Not in the short run, not in the nostalgic run, but in the long run. The NFL, we will always cherish it as a game, but it is still a business. The Vikings, like I said, they had good seasons. 2017, they were 13-3. 2019, they were 10-6. They've had good seasons. And recently, last year, 14-3 with Sam Darnold. But for me, I'm also getting the vibes that this organization was upset with Sam Darnold leaving and now being in the Super Bowl. And, I can understand that. And Kwesi didn't do a horrible job, but his drafting was questionable. And the Vikings, they decided to go analytics with this guy. They decided to go analytics and hope for the best, but it didn't work out too well. But what I fully believe is that we will bring in a guy who has the team's best interest in his or her heart, and will hopefully bring in an offensive lineman, an offensive line that can protect our quarterback, and will not try and go back in time and bring back players from however many years ago they played in Minnesota, but instead make the moves that'll help our team now and benefit us in the long run as well. That's what I desire. That's what we all desire. I think I speak for all Vikings fans when I say we all desire that. We all desire business decisions from this front office that will help us in the long run. That is the main that's the main agenda here. It's the main agenda. So we'll see if that happens, but Wow. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah fired by this organization. Wow. That's crazy. Happy Friday to you guys. And Kwesi, best of luck to you wherever else you go. And Skol Vikings.